How did Toy Story 3 get a G rating?
Like compared to like PG or like what?
Well, compared to other movies. So like, I feel like there's not a lot of movies that get a G rating now, right?
True,
like
yeah.
The standard now is like most movies will get at least like a PG.
Yeah.
It's like supposed to be a kids movie.
Uh-huh.
Toy Story 3 has a literal scene where they are all like traveling towards an incinerator at a garbage dump.
That did traumatize me as a kid.
And the toys are about to be burned alive. So like we got movies out here, kids movies that are being rated PG for thematic elements, whatever that means. Toy Story 3 does not have any thematic elements that could give it a PG rating. We're going to rate that movie a G when they almost died.
Is this just what you think about like on a daily basis, Jack?
Yes. Hello, everybody. It is 9:42 a.m. It's 51 degrees out. The date today is Friday, October 20th. Did you know last week was Friday the 13th?
I did.
It's probably a good thing we didn't do a pod that week.
True. I mean, I feel like I didn't notice until like the end of the day, and it wasn't too bad. Like it was, you know.
I mean, yeah, there were no catastrophic events that happened to me personally, but you know.
Same. Maybe someone out there, but
probably
not me.
Someone out there. This is the way it works. Anyway, welcome back to the WLC Sports Podcast. We got a new episode for you all this week, and our guest this week is my RA.
It is. I am your RA.
Wow.
Better watch what you say.
Yeah,
I know. I gotta be
I got a lot of power.
I know he does. So
Yes.
I'm gonna have to tread lightly here. It's like I'm walking a tightrope.
It's all right.
Yeah.
You're good, Jack.
We got Hans Rupnow with us this week. He's gonna be our special guest, and because he's here, we're gonna kick it off by starting with men's cross country.
That's right.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. So I was looking back through your last Saturday and the events that the men's cross country team participated in. There were two of them.
Yeah.
There was the private college championships at Beloit, which you guys took 4th out of 6. And then there was the Jim Drews Invitational at La Crosse that you took 7th out of 27. So my first question is, how do you choose which event you get to run in? Like, do you choose, your coaches choose, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Coach Travis has been doing it for a long time. I think he likes to tell us, I think it's like 28 or 29 years.
Okay, yeah.
So he knows a lot of coaches. He knows the historical tendencies of the schools and whatnot. So he really decides, we go to privates every year. But he wanted to send the top guys to La Crosse for some comp, just to, feel out the regional field, because we'll be racing against all those guys in Eau Claire later on in the season at the regional championships.
Gotcha.
And then, so that's really what he does. He just wants to, give competition, because cross country is all about growing throughout the season.
Right.
Testing the boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before with some of our running-based guests, I guess, if you want to say that.
Yes.
Yeah, about how in sports like cross country or track, there is a competitive aspect, but there's also just the personal, like you said, personal growth.
It's really an interesting sport. Because once everybody gets out on the course, anything can really happen. There's no timeouts. It's not like you can stop a run or shift the momentum or anyway. And then it's all really on the individual runners as well, but it's also team sport. It's super interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
It.
Well, and I mean, I feel like you would think that it's such an individualized sport, because it's just you get out on the course and you're running yourself. You're not but I know that both the men's and the women's teams have good chemistry, and you guys do a lot together as just a team and for team bonding and stuff. I want to ask, especially this year, what has team chemistry been like, especially with so many siblings? I know you have your younger brother as a freshman this year.
Correct, yeah.
And then other guys like Zeke have their brothers on the team, and then you have the Staggs brothers as well. So with so many siblings on the team, what has that been like?
It honestly hasn't been that much different. We really pride ourselves in being a family. We always eat together, and I'm sure a lot of people see us. We make a lot of noise over in the caf. A lot of us go to Wally, even though we're not freshmen. We study together. We spend a lot of time outside of school together. So it honestly hasn't been much different. That's just really fed into the family dynamic. Obviously, it's been awesome to see the younger brothers like Noah and Arnold having great success.
Yeah.
Arnold's really become a key piece on the team, so we're really excited about his future. And then Stags, they're just goofy. They're carbon copies of each other, honestly. I still can only tell them apart by their hair. And maybe I think Josh has a little bit of a more narrow nose, but yeah, it's great. I love
We've
it.
gotten to the point where we're deconstructing the facial features.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nose.
No, I knew you were very excited to ask the siblings question
I was.
because you had been talking about it for weeks now. So I'm glad you got your moment in the sun.
Well,
I'm glad you got some answers.
I was just wondering. I feel like it's not every day you get to play on a college sport like with your siblings.
Yeah,
so I feel like
that's true.
It's been
kind
fun.
Kind of a cool thing. Yeah. But, and then you kind of talked about regionals, but first you guys will have the NACC championships on October 28th, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
coming up next Saturday, is that?
Yeah, that's next Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, just down the road at beautiful Greenfield Park. So everybody come on out and support us. So we're looking at we're probably a solid second in the conference right now. MSOE is a really good team this year. Hats off to them. I think they're ranked, the last poll by the Coaches Association had them 10th in our region, which is, I think that's the first time in a long time
Wow.
a NACC team has cracked the top 10.
Yeah.
Because the WEAC is just so dominant at men's cross country, and then the private schools over in Minnesota.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, MSOE is definitely the front runner, but like you said, anything can happen, Once you get out on the course, anything can really happen. It's our home course, so we know it well.
True.
And Zeke and Peyton and Isaiah are definitely going to bring it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good friends with them. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know that.
Oh yeah. You think there's a chance that one of them pulls out the number one spot?
Isaiah technically is the fastest time in the conference this year.
Really?
It was on a fast course, but he brought it on that fast course. So,
All right.
yeah.
So-
he's a gamer, so I like his odds actually.
So yeah. I mean, stay tuned on that because well, first of all, you'll be able to head on out to that because usually when we throw it forward, it's you'll have to check the website. No, this is you've got a lot of opportunity to come out and support both the men's and the women's team at that event at our home course. So good stuff for sure. But yeah, I mean, anything else about cross country? I know we're kind of on a time crunch. We've got
Unfortunately.
we've got an Adam Heinzen interview coming in right after us, so we got to we're not.
I want a Heinzen Cameo. I hope he comes in when we're still in the middle
That'd
of
be
this.
awesome.
I hope so too. But I was just gonna say, I mean,
If you haven't watched the Adam Heinzen episode from last year, please do that because none of you watched it, even though it was really good, and I'm not happy about that.
Wow.
So go watch the Heinzen. It was a good episode.
it was a good episode.
We got the inside scoop on Rev Shev breaking into his house,
True.
Unannounced. It was a great episode.
That's a stereotypical Chev activity.
Heinzen just also knows everything, so it's great.
He does. But when he requests a room, you get out of that
Oh
room.
yeah, he's the one who let us in this morning. So
Yes.
we got to honor his request.
Okay, so we'll move on to football, to honor Heinzen's, request that we get out by 10. And we'll talk about football because since we had Savant on, they've gone on, well, they won against Rockford before he was on. And then they also picked up wins against Lakeland and Eureka, which were pretty dominant wins, 34-14 and 42-14, respectively.
Football is hot. Good
Yeah,
for them.
they picked it up for sure.
It's like the quote from Major League. I don't know if either of you have seen that movie.
not.
It's a baseball movie. Yeah,
Oh,
shock.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But one of the quotes in that movie is all right, boys, we got one win today. We win tomorrow. That's 2 in a row. We win the day after that. That's called a winning streak. So they're on a winning streak.
They are.
There we go.
They got 3 wins. And I saw that sophomore QB Bryce Barbian won the NACC Player of the Week for his performance against Eureka. He had almost 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, which is
Good.
I should pick him up for my fantasy team because mine is.
Could you imagine if we had a fantasy sports league, but it was WLC sports?
That would be fun. I mean,
NACC fantasy sports?
that would be fun.
That would
We'd have
generate
to
a lot of interest.
We'd almost have
Yeah.
to get it across all all sports. So imagine you can pick one player from
Yeah.
each sport and they just have
Yeah.
different. That'd be fun. I mean,
Okay, we might have to workshop that.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, football's win streak has gotten them up to the point where they're tied with Norbert's for 3rd in the NACC, which is really impressive, honestly, especially considering, again, we talked about that tough start to the season, and then we talked with Savant about how you bounce back from that. So cool to see those guys having some success. And got to give a shout out again to sophomore Layson Handwork, who still leads the NACC in total tackles as well. I know we talked about that last time as well. So good stuff. They play a really, really tough Aurora team this Saturday. They're ranked nationally, I think, 15th or something.
Yeah.
So it'll be a really tough game. They're undefeated as far as I know, but hey, coming in hot off the win streak, so you never know. You'll be able to check the website for that. And then their next home game is October 28th versus Benedictine. It is First Responders Day. So, you can pop around to some cross country, some football, and a bunch of other sports that we have going on that day as well. But that's about it for football.
Next on the agenda for this morning that John wrote for all of us is women's golf.
It is, and I put women's golf higher than I usually do because I feel
women's golf is doing some pretty good things.
they're popping off. I mean, I usually put it at the bottom, not because I don't want to talk about it, but because I feel completely unqualified to talk golf. I mean, we've covered this at length, and we don't really understand how it works.
We'll get a golf guest.
I play Wii golf if that helps.
We've also covered Wii golf.
Okay, what are your opinions on the putting mechanics in Wii golf?
Well, I like the topographic map that appears. And the little sound effect that you press, that's fun.
Yeah, it is nice.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it's either a little or like nothing or everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we had a discussion
Yeah,
about this before.
It's broken, but I mean it's from 2006.
Right.
This is
so
true. I've been
it can't be
playing.
too hard in Nintendo.
Right.
My roommates and I have been playing the GameCube Mario Golf game from 2003. It's almost as old as I am.
Wow, that's
and
collectors.
it's good. We've gotten some good shots. We're still chasing the elusive hole-in-one, but we've been trying. So that's been fun. But that's about the extent of my golf knowledge.
I will say that if you play Wii Sports Resort, because that's got you use like the Motion Plus add-in, so it's better at like tracking
A little.
putting. So
A little.
it's a little bit, still not great.
We're not that fancy over in the 540s, are we?
that's-
No.
I mean, I run all my Wii games on like a $900 computer, so maybe
Well,
we are a little fancy at it.
That is fancy, but
But we're still struggling with putting on Wii Golf, so some things you just can't change.
yes. But I can tell you that the women's golf team must not have been struggling with their putting.
Oh.
Because they took third out of 9 in the NACC championships this fall. Like we talked about, their whole championship is in the fall. The men's is split between the fall and the spring. But third is tied for the highest position ever in school history, which is really, really cool. They have, I looked at like kind of the makeup of their team and like, if I wanted to see if they're like really old compared to like some of the other teams, or if they've got some newcomers, and they do have a couple underclassmen, but a lot of those, the girls on the team are juniors or seniors or even graduate students. So it was really cool to see them kind of come forward and be able to really make WLC history, honestly. So really cool stuff from women's golf. And I didn't put men's golf in this time because, again, they have half of it in the spring. But once we get a little more knowledge about that, we'll be able to talk about that for sure.
Do you think we could beat women's golf in a Wii Sports golf outing?
I feel like no, because I feel like people who play golf well, like, understand how like the topography map and everything goes. Like they know how to play the break.
I want to say yes because Wii golf is no relation to real
Well,
golf.
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
kind of what I was thinking. Like maybe it's a completely different animal. Maybe this will have to be like some extras content that we.
Because I don't.
Great
I
idea.
I play like sitting down sometimes. Like I just flick.
I'm telling
I
you,
don't know. Is that
pod-
is that crazy?
No, I gotta go like full stand up.
Yeah.
Should I be banned?
Same with super sluggers, but we don't have time to talk about that.
Yeah,
But,
that's another rabbit hole entirely.
Oh, absolutely. But maybe we'll get end of the year. All of the podcasts, we'll get them together. We'll play some Wii golf or something.
We do have to do some kind of podcast event.
Agreed.
We wanted to
Agreed.
do that last year, but we never
We
found the
did.
time for it. So
We did.
we'll keep that on the table. We'll workshop it.
For sure. All right. With our last 5 minutes, we're going to use those to talk about both the soccer teams and women's volleyball just really quick. Starting with men's soccer, I saw that they picked up a 1-0 win against Norbert's, which is a really good win for them because Norbert's is like right around the same as us, like ranked in the conference. And then they picked up 2 tough losses to Dominican and Aurora, who are also really good teams in our conference. So just, they may be losses, but they're still obviously playing against good teams. I did see that they did clinch a playoff berth, which if I'm remembering right from last year, they like just missed it. I
Yeah,
think.
it was like a 4-way tie or something. Like
Yeah, it was
either
like
if they won conference, or they lost, they're out of playoffs.
Yeah, something like that. It was like such a like heartbreaking loss. But this year,
It's the NACC, so it's got to be something a little weird.
Exactly. But this year they already made it in. They don't know their seed yet, but the fact that they're already going is super cool. I saw that senior Puma Galvan still leads the NACC in save percentage, and he was the NACC Athlete of the Week, not like this week prior to this, but last week. So that's really cool as well. And then they only have 2 more regular season games in their schedule. They've got Illinois Tech on Saturday, and then MSOE on Wednesday. Neither of those are home games, but you can, MSOE is not that far. You could head over there, but also you can check the websites for scores for both of those. Women's soccer has been struggling a little bit more. They're on a little bit of a losing skid, but always time to bounce back for sure.
For sure.
Brooke Bloom is still second in the conference for goals scored.
Former pod guest.
Yes, former pod guest, exactly. Go watch her episode too. We've thrown it back to all the episodes so far. We talked about Swan, we talked about Brooke.
It's all about continuity.
It is. They also play Illinois Tech on Saturday, so check the website for scores on that. But their next home game is MSOE on Wednesday. Guys are away, girls are home. So if you're not doing anything on Wednesday night, head on out and support them for their last game of the regular season. And then finally, we'll talk about women's volleyball. They are also they've had a rough streak against some pretty decent teams, I know. I caught just the end of their match against Aurora, which was last night for us and a little while ago for you. But it looked like a pretty tough match. So no doubt that they will for sure be able to bounce back a little bit as well. We talked last time about how Kylie Navasic leads the NACC in service aces, which she still does, I saw. So I thought I would throw that in there as a stat for the volleyball team there. They also play Illinois Tech on Saturday. They've got kind of, similar schedule. We got a ton of different sports going on Saturday, I guess, some home, some away. And then their next home match is Concordia, Wisconsin on Thursday of this week. And it is WELS Night, which I think is funny that we staged that the same night as we play Concordia. So come on out in your Martin Luther robes and support the team.
Martin Luther robes.
Yeah, it's WELS Night.
It's the best you could come up with.
Wait, which night is that?
Thursday.
Oh, it's not October 31st.
That would have been
That'd be very
great.
fitting.
Man, okay, then I wouldn't have made as much fun of you for the Wells robe.
Well, what's more aggressively WELS than Martin Luther? I guess actually Concordia is also Lutheran.
Yeah,
so
I'm not sure. Because, your student section needs to have something that distinguishes you from the other student section, right?
Flag shorts.
That could be
We
arranged.
need to bring Peyton Hartman back on here.
I mean, Hans has them too. So.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, mine aren't American.
Oh, I know what yours.
Yeah.
I know what yours look like. Yeah.
Unacceptable.
But I mean, hey, maybe. So.
All right, well, go wear shorts or robes or whatever it is that you want to wear, provided it's...
As long as it's appropriate.
Yeah, provided it's appropriate. I don't want to encourage any risque behavior on the pod.
Of course not.
Because that's not what we're about here.
Exactly.
What we are about is giving you all the latest information on WLC
Ooh.
sports, mostly courtesy of John, who just does a lot of the research for all of this. But
Really, again, that comes through Heinzen. I
Well,
mean,
that's-
most of it is just me reading what
Everything
Heinzen
comes
writes.
back to Heinzen.
Yep.
who
All
should
roads.
be getting in here any second now, so I think it's time for us to sign off.
Probably.
Hans, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Hope you had
Of course.
a good time.
It was all right.
Did you enjoy your bubbler?
I did. Shout out to Bubbler, bottled in the beautiful town of Watertown, Wisconsin.
Really?
My hometown, actually.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at us.
Yeah.
That was not an intentional product placement, I promise.
No, but I mean,
There you go.
the pod's a great place to learn new things about
Support
beverages.
Watertown's economy.
We have
Drink
talked
Bubbler.
about Propel and Gatorade and now Bubbler
Yeah.
in the last weeks. We
If-
talked about water before that.
If you're a beverage brand, sponsor
you,
us.
there
You
we
know
go.
who to call.
Yeah.
Because people are just dying to sponsor a podcast at a private college in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But,
And maybe they are. I don't know.
hey man, Quick Trip sponsors one of the football games, the Glazer Bowl.
True.
So
True.
you never know.
There's a chance.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. If anything does happen on that front, we'll let you know next time. So tune in a couple weeks. Thanks for watching.
You guys keep this on a little rolling cart?
We
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
They're
You all wave to the camera. It's still running.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, there we go.